So as we sit here today, we're just a few days away from the rematch between Devin Haney and George Kambosos Jr. Look, I got to be honest, I'm not sure that we ever were going to get here. There was a lot of buildup in the first fight. A lot of things said as far as a potential rematch clause and what was going to happen should Kambosos get the loss. But after I watched that first one of the thoughts I had was we're not going to get another rematch. Devin Haney went out there and mopped the floor with Kambosos. Okay, I made some predictions and some analysis in the build-up to that fight, and one of the things that I said was Kambosos was going to have to get by that jab. Look, Devin Haney has one of the best jabs in the game right now. I think you could make a very strong argument for saying it's the best jab in the game. And he uses that thing beautifully. He has a great understanding of distance, a great understanding of timing, knows how to move in and out, knows how to use feints to throw you off, knows how to move side to side a little bit. Now, I'm not saying his game's perfect. The man's only 23 years old. He's got a lot of growing to do. But at 23 years old, he's got that jab and he's got it down to a science. Anybody who's looking to beat him, anybody who's looking to see some success is going to have to figure out a way to nullify that jab. So going in, I looked at it and I said, that's the first thing Kambosos is going to have to deal with. If he can't figure out how to get by that jab, he's done. If he can't figure out how to defeat that jab, there is no way he's going to see success. That's exactly what we saw come fight night. I mean, look, Kambosos has a very good right hand, particularly an overhand right. He's got a very good ring IQ. The man's a cerebral fighter. He's got timing. Everybody understands that timing beats speed. But it takes more than just saying that, right? It takes understanding the game plan, putting it together, owning it, and then implementing it on a fight night against a man who's incredibly talented, who doesn't want you to succeed. He doesn't want your game plan to work, and you got to make it work anyways. Now, one of the things that I noticed after that fight, right away in the post-fight interview, everybody was heaping a bunch of praise on Devin Haney, and rightfully so. He went out there and just looked phenomenal. Went into the champ's backyard, dominated him, took the belts. But Kambosos, right in the post-fight interview, he says, hey, man, this is your night. You've earned it. Congratulations. But don't get too full of yourself. There were some moments in there when I saw success, and when we have that rematch, I'm going to build on that, and I'm going to see more success. Now, that right there tells me that his spirit wasn't broken. It tells me that he's a cerebral fighter. It tells me that while he was going in there, he understood that there were things that he was doing that was working. He understood that there were things that he wanted to do that couldn't work. I fully expect him to be better in the rematch. I fully expect him to take all of those things, take it back to camp, break it down, analyze it, every single little piece, try to put together a plan that's going to work. Try to put together something that's just going to allow him to see some success. Right? He's physically got all the tools that you need. Right, so it's not like we're looking at it and saying that he's underpowered going into this one. I think Devin Haney's a better athlete, right? He's taller, he's longer. I think he's got faster hands and faster feet, faster, quick twitch muscle fibers. I think he's better in all those regards. But I think that Kambosos certainly has all of the physical tools necessary to beat anybody at 135 pounds and to be the champion of the division, right? I mean, look at a guy like one of the examples that I bring up all the time is Juan Manuel Marquez, right? There was a lot of men that he fought that were better athletes than him. They were faster, they were quicker, they were more agile, they had better balance, they could jump higher. Whatever it was, they were better athletes. But he was the better fighter. Dude was a master technician, and he went out there and he put it on a lot of guys who were younger, who were more athletic. So you don't have to be the better athlete to go in there and win a fight. You can go out there and you can defeat men who are better athletes through your ring IQ, through your fight knowledge, your actual, real, true, hardcore skill set. And Kambosos has a good fight mind, and he's got a good skill set, and he's no slouch when it comes to the athleticism. But I just don't think he's going to be able to go out there and beat Haney, man. I don't think that he's going to be able to go out there and nullify that jab, first and foremost. Will he be able to see some success with an overhand right? Yeah, he'll probably land it a few times. Haney keeps his chin up a little bit, stays in tight just a little bit too much. Sometimes he can commit a little bit too much to that jab and leave himself open for that right hand. Sometimes I don't think he moves out, laterally quite enough, particularly if his opponent is starting to try to time him a little bit, like we saw with Linares in a combination. So there's areas for concern, right? There's little spots that you can look at and think that Kambosos will be able to see some success, and I do think that he'll see some success in those areas. I think that he'll look better than he did before. Maybe he'll be able to, figure out a way to use feints a little bit better, or maybe he'll figure out a way to lead with a jab to the body and then come with an overhand right to try to throw off the timing or something like. One way or another, I think that he's going to look better. Flip side to that is I think Devin Haney's going to look better. I also think Devin Haney has the ability to adapt mid-fight better. I think he has more tools available to him. So even if Kambosos does start to see a little bit of success with his timing, with his ring IQ, with the way that he's able to attempt to try to take that jab away, maybe cutting to the outside, come on an overhand right, trying to get Haney into no man's land by baiting him in, thinking he's going to be in one spot and then slightly pulling back and coming over the top. Whatever it is that Kambosos may do to see a little bit of success, I think Haney's going to come back to the corner. He's going to regroup. He's going to make adjustments, and then he'll be able to get right back on the path to continue to win. I just think he's the better fighter, and I think that he looks better in this. I think both men look better. I think it's going to be a good fight, but I think that once again, even though both men stepped their game, let's say the first fight was here, we had Devin Haney at this level, we had Kambosos at this level. Okay, I think both men are going to be able to step their game up in this one. We see a better performance from both men, but proportionally, I think we still see a win from Devin Haney, and I still think he looks incredibly impressive, right? One of the things that I loved was in the build-up to this fight, Bob Arum already said, look, Lomachenko's back in the game, right? He's got this fight with Ortiz coming up. He's over here in the States. His family's over here. Everything's good to go. My full plan, full intention is to match up Loma, should he win his fight, with the winner of Haney Kambosos. And I want that to happen in the first quarter of 2023. Now, man, just think about that. Think about if we see Devin Haney come out there, put 2 beatings on George Kambosos, and then we get to see Devin Haney versus Loma in the first quarter of 2023. Now, that's a fight that gets me excited. That's a fight that's so exciting, that sounds so good. I've heard Devin Haney talk about Loma in glowing terms on his rise up the ranks. It actually makes me hope that he's so excited about that one that he starts to overlook Kambosos. Really, because he went in there and he smoked Kambosos so much in that first fight. Now he gets him in the rematch. Now he knows that he's got to fight with a guy that he just really looked up to for all these years, who he held in very high regard because of the way that he was able to dominate the division. I hope he doesn't look past Kambosos, because Kambosos is not a man to be looked past. I don't care how bad you beat him in that first match, in that first fight. This is a rematch. It can definitely go different, and Kambosos is no slouch. You know, Bob Arum brought up 2 points, right, or 2 fights historically, because he was probably being questioned about, why are you even making this rematch? The first fight was so dominant, why are you making a rematch? He brought up 2 fights. He said, hey, remember the first fight between Ali and Frazier? Frazier dominated Ali, but we made that rematch. Ali was able to come back and get a definitive victory. Remember the first fight between Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran? Duran went out there, dominated that fight. We all know about how the second one turned out, right? The No Mas fight. So he said, just because you see, right, his point being, just because a fight went one way the first time doesn't mean a fight can't go completely a different way the second time. But I would make the argument that there were extenuating circumstances with both of those fights, and we don't see anything like that with this one. So I think Devin Haney comes away with a clear victory. I think he's going to try to put the exclamation point on it, particularly because it's his first title defense. Now, what that looks like, I don't know. He's not really a puncher. He's not overly aggressive. He's not a guy who's known for taking chances. And I don't necessarily think that he should. I mean, dude, if you see the opportunity, you get a man out of there. Anytime you leave a man around, there's always the possibility that he could do something, come back, land a quick shot. You don't know what's going to happen. And boom, you're out of there. Lost the belts. Game over. Wake up looking at the ceiling. Right? That can always happen the longer you leave a guy around. So if you see the opportunity, you end it. Take that opportunity. Go for the knockout. Get him out of there. But you don't want to take chances. You don't want to overextend. You don't want to become overly aggressive. You don't want to try to force it, right? Because that's when you can make mistakes, particularly if it's unnecessary. I mean, imagine you're up like 10 or 11 rounds to 0, right? 10 rounds to 1 going into the 12th. And you're over here, foot just completely on the gas pedal trying to press it, and you just walk into a nasty shot. Everybody's going to look and question why you did that, because you didn't have to, right? They would say that it was bad understanding of the moment, bad understanding of the situation that you were in. You weren't receiving correct instruction while you were in the corner. So it's about being a savage, but it's about being smart too. And I think if the opportunity presents itself, that Haney will go for it, because he knows the criticism that's out there about him. He knows that he's still young and he wants to continue to make a name for himself. He's in a crowded division with a lot of guys who are very talented, and at least 2 guys who are more popular than him, in Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis. Right, at least one guy in Lomachenko who's far more accomplished than him with his resume. So he's not some super shining star that and there's nobody else to talk about. He's just the king of everything, right? And that's not even mentioning the fact that Shakur Stevenson has just made mention that he's going to be at 135 pounds now after he couldn't make 130 any longer. So a lot of talent there at the lightweight division. He needs to attempt to separate himself somehow. Yeah, you're the guy with all the belts, but you need to. It's about more than just that these days, right? He's got to figure out a way to separate himself. And being able to come out there and put some kind of a stamp, just some kind of a super definitive, clear-cut, impressive victory on this one would do that. So I expect him to bring his A game, show up 100%, particularly with the experience and the knowledge that he gained from the last fight. I expect Kambosos to do the same thing. That's just going to be great for the fans, right? Ultimately, we're really, truly the winners in that type of a scenario. So let me know what you guys think. Is Haney able to end it early? Is he just going to be able to coast to another decision victory? Is Kambosos going to be able to pull some kind of, trick out of his bag and figure out a way to upset the apple cart? Let me know what you guys think.